Hi, Sandy.
Hi, how are you?
I have a question. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I am new to this, so I think Mara or Aaron's gonna hop on, but I just wanted to make sure that you could see everything.
Yeah. Looks good.
All right. Sorry, guys, got carried away at my task in hand. We are gonna start with our accountability, and then I'll introduce our amazing instructor for the day and let her get started. But Emily, you want to get us started on our accountability? How was your weekend?
Hey there. I was working this morning on getting caught up on a class that I missed, and I was trying to set up a Facebook business page.
Perfect. Those are good things. Still have time in the day for some contacts as well. And Ashley?
I am going to be following up with a lead about he had talked to, I had connected him with Caitlin Ward, and so I need to follow up with him on like going forward. He was approved, but I think it was kind of like a lower amount that they felt comfortable with. So I don't know, as far as like going forward with that, I kind of wanted to talk to somebody and like kind of have like a little bit of a conversation on like kind of how to go about that, because it was kind of lower and there aren't really anything in that price range.
Yeah, definitely follow up with Caitlin too and kind of just understand their pre-approval and the factors that led into it. Like she'll definitely be happy to talk to you about that. And then once you've had that conversation, feel free to call Erin or I.
Okay.
And Sandy?
Hi. Yeah, I'm just been working on my contacts and watching some tutorials about setting up a Facebook business page. I have someone I'm working with on setting up a website. Have an
Perfect.
appointment call in with Jet. So
Awesome. Good. And Cheyenne?
Hi. Had an open house this weekend. It went pretty well. I've got another one scheduled for Saturday. I got all of my like beginning of the month house anniversary cards sent out, and I'm working on getting together my Christmas card list and getting it sent out.
Good. Way to think ahead on that.
Yeah.
And Felicia?
Hi there. I did an open house yesterday that went pretty well. And as far as new contacts, I feel like I'm running out of people to add. So I've been nurturing the leads that I do have and made contact with a couple of them over the weekend. Everybody's kind of like, you know, looking to buy in the spring, I feel like. So I don't really have anything current happening.
Yeah, definitely have some good conversations around what their motivation for waiting is. Sometimes winter we have less competition, so it can be a nice time to get people into looking, just depending on what their reason for waiting is. Perfect. I'm gonna challenge you guys too to start, doing, if you're not already tracking the actual number of people you're talking to each day, continue to do that. It doesn't have to be a brand new person to count as a conversation, but we sometimes don't give ourselves credit for how many conversations we're having. And that can make a big difference when we look at our goals and where we're at and what alterations we need to make. Having a good idea of what we're already doing really helps. All right, who just joined as iPhone? I'll rename you. Here's Gary. People are trickling in this Monday.
Hi, I don't know if you can hear me, Mara. This is Nora and Lucy.
Oh, thank you, Nora. Okay. Perfect. Okay, Now, without further ado, introducing our amazing instructor for the day, we have Carly Peterson. She's been in real estate since 2012. She started out as the agent service director, where she assisted in training agents on Keller Williams cutting edge technology and assisted with clients as they came into the office. This developed her passion for real estate and led her to grow her own successful real estate business. She quickly, oh, we have another person joining. She quickly grew to be one of the top agents at her market center during her first year selling real estate and has remained there ever since. She loves running, hiking, and spending time outdoors. She spends her free time with friends and family. She's a mom to twins, a boy and a girl, and a dog mom to a sweet black lab named Zoe. So I'll let you take it away, Carly.
Okay. Thank you, Mara. I feel like you didn't need to read my bio. You could have done it from memory, I'm sure.
Probably, but it helps me not lose track my train of thought.
Yeah. So this is the first time I'm ever going over this Ignite material. It was something different back in the day. So bear with me. Also, I want you guys to get value out of this. So if you have like questions like about my personal business or any questions that you have with like people that you're working with or whatever, feel free to ask also. So that way we're not just, you know, going over stuff that you already have access to. That way you get value out of having me here. But yeah, otherwise we'll go ahead and just get into the program unless anybody has any questions starting out. Does anybody have anything you want to go over before we get started? Nope. Okay, cool. So this one is keep every lead. Oh wait, let me share my screen with you. Resume sharing. There we go. Okay, can everybody see this screen? Yes, okay, cool. So then this is what we're going over today, which is keep every lead. And it is a part of the lead follow-up group. And we are number 1, keep every lead. So we'll just go ahead and get into it. First, you've already covered becoming the real estate expert of choice by building your value proposition. We also covered generating leads through prospecting and marketing. And today we're focusing now on just switching leads to lead follow-up, where you can make or break your business. Generating a lead can take almost no time at all. The important aspect is keeping the lead in your grasp until they are ready to do business with you. And it can take up to 10 years for this to happen. So a little story time for you guys. I had a set of clients that when I had met them, they had really bad credit. They were like nowhere near able to buy. And they ended up sticking with me and the lender that I referred them to for over a year and a half. They then, after the year and a half, we finally were able to get them pre-approved. They did everything the lender told them to do. They kept checking back in, and we ended up finding them a house. Like a year or two later, we sold that house. I did an open house at the house that I sold for them, found the buyer myself. So I double-ended that deal, found them a different house to move into, and then since sold that house too. So that year and a half wait ended up in 5 deals. That's how important lead follow-up is, staying in contact with your people. And the last thing I'll say about lead follow-up that I'm sure we'll get into here is that most of the things we do for lead follow-up is free, which is amazing. There's really no excuse not to do it because it doesn't cost you any money typically. And all the lead generating stuff can cost money. So lead follow-up is super important and it is very beneficial. So we are going to engage in a daily success system after each lesson that will establish the core activities for your entire real estate career. It looks like this coursework is really geared towards in person. So there might be stuff like breaking into groups. You guys are probably used to this already, that we're not gonna do, but that you guys can meet up and do on your own with accountability partners. So I'm also new to this whole Zoom thing. So if anybody has a question, I'm probably not paying too close attention to the chat. Just unmute yourself and tell me your question. That'll be easiest for me. So we are going to get into the process that is converting leads to business. And from the moment you have captured the lead, then you will put it in your database. Before we begin, does anybody want to share your progress with the success system? Is anybody doing this success system that they talk about? Or following it? Are you guys doing that in the program?
I would like just doing like the success system. I've reached out to people that I probably wouldn't have otherwise reached out to, and it has definitely is leading to leads and more contacts than I would have had if I wasn't doing those.
Good, okay. Oh, I think with every single click, it's making me go, okay. So that is awesome to hear. I really don't know a whole lot about the success system particulars. So if anybody has questions, maybe you can help them with that. And yeah, so does anybody have any problems that they're having with the success system? No, okay, then we'll just move right along. So this is the little agenda for today. We're going to go over what is lead follow-up, how to lead follow-up, post lead follow-up, recap, and then you guys will do the daily success system on your own, I believe. And so now you guys can turn to the lead follow-up page in your guide. I have a copy of your guide here. So I think it's just on page 3. And does anybody want to share how we define a lead? If you do, just unmute yourself. Okay, nobody wants to share. Okay.
Anybody you talk to?
Anybody to talk to? Yep, that's true.
I'll just
So
read
oh, go ahead.
Someone who has shown interest in the services you offer and with whom you may have a one-way conversation.
Yes, two-way conversation. Perfect. That's exactly what a lead is. The goal of the lead follow-up is to follow up with that lead with the goal of entering a two-way conversation. So them talking to you too. Does lead follow-up only apply to a lead? Does anyone want to answer that one?
Could be a referral too.
Yes. And anyone in your database is considered a lead, whether it's a lead contact that requires follow-up or like anybody you know can be a lead because of the referrals. So out of the people that you guys have added to your database, have you added other people that you may know outside of somebody who you think is a lead, or are you only adding just regular leads?
I had everybody who I come in contact with and I get their contact information. I'll put them in my database.
Yep, that's perfect. So that's exactly the goal. And I know when I was starting out, I went through my high school yearbook. I started when I was 22, so I was young, but I went through my high school yearbook and I added all my friends' parents because I knew that my friends were young. They weren't buying houses anytime soon. So I added all of their parents who also knew me. And some of the first sales that I had was friends' parents. So think like beyond that scope too, like not just friends and family, but like friends of friends that may, you know, as long as they know who you are and you can find their contact information, it's good for you to be reaching out to them. Does everybody know how you can find if somebody's address if they own a house?
Arlid?
Yes, Arlid or RMLS. So in RMLS and Arlid, there's a section to search tax records, and you can just type in their information, their name, last name, first name, or both, and you can find their property address. And that's what I did with like all the people that I knew they owned homes, like my friend's parents or my husband's coworkers. I started mailing every month to them my little mailer that I did.
There's that function on the RPR app as well. Where you
Oh,
can
awesome.
search by city and like if you know what town they live in and name. It goes
Perfect.
by first names even.
Oh, that's awesome. So it sounds like you guys are aware of that feature and how to stalk people.
It's real handy.
Yes, it is. Okay, so the other thing to think about is how many other real estate databases these people might be added to. So every time a client or a lead or somebody you know goes on a random website and clicks on a house that they like, they get added to that agent's database most likely. So a lot of the leads that you're adding to your database, they may be a part of tons of other people's databases that's also sending them information. So that's why lead follow-up is so important, so that you are the agent that is top of mind, even if they're getting other agents' information. Okay. Is this helping you guys understand the importance of lead follow-up? Does everybody agree that it's super important?
Indeed.
Yes, okay. So let me move to this little graph. So this is showing a little graph. It says what it means to come in contact with the lead and lead follow-up. Everyone in your database lives along this graph at some point. It says on here that they move every 7 to 10 years. With rates having been so low the last few years, I think leads, whatever, we're moving a lot more frequent than 7 to 10 years, more like every couple of years. Now that rates are going up, all of the people that maybe just want to move and don't have to move might not be moving. So it might be a little bit more accurate now than it has been in the past. But nevertheless, I still think that people move more often than you think. And if you find out that somebody sold their house and moved that you worked with, you are going to be so sad that you did not stay in contact with that lead. So definitely want to keep in contact with all of the leads, especially your past clients. At the top of the wave is when they purchase the house. The day after they buy a house and they move down the wave and continue until they begin to think about a new house over someone's lifetime. They have the potential to buy 1, 2, or 3 homes. The distance between those purchases is likely 7 to 10 years. So if I gave you a lead close to the top of the wave, what would you guys perceive to be the quality of the lead? Anybody can pipe in.
Very strong.
Yes. Super strong lead because they're ready to move. So if I gave you a lead at the bottom of the wave, you'd probably think that it's not a very strong lead because they're not ready to move yet. And it might be perceived as like a bad lead. But there's no bad lead because, like we talked about before, even just waiting a couple years can result in multiple years worth of sales or multiple homes sold with that lead or referrals or whatever. So that is all the follow-up game. And I would also say that most agents are not very good at lead follow-up. They're just not. It takes systems, it takes time, it takes patience. It's kind of frustrating a lot of the times, like you feel like you're bugging people. So if you master lead follow-up, I seriously think that your business will do really, really well. So as a real estate agent, following up with all leads with frequency and intensity is the key to remaining in close emotional proximity. So as any lead approaches the top of the wave and they are ready to purchase, they think of you. This is where the importance and value of lead follow-up comes into play. So we'll move on to the next. So think of leads as they enter your database through lead generation as your possible business. Lead follow-up helps turn the leads from possible business into probable business, with the end goal being a profitable business. In 2021, the National Association of Realtors profile of home buyers and sellers detailed the opportunity that lead follow-up can provide to your business. They collected research that shows that when selecting an agent to use, 73% of buyers only talk to one agent, and 82% of sellers only contact one agent. So since the data shows that most buyers and sellers only talk to one agent before deciding to do business with them, what will you do to ensure that you are that one agent that everyone knows in your database? So that is pretty powerful stuff, that we think that everyone's interviewing more than one agent. A lot of times you go on a listing appointment and you're nervous because you think they're interviewing tons of different agents that may be better than you or whatever. And chances are they're only interviewing you. And so that's why lead follow-up is so important. And here's a quote from the Millionaire Real Estate Agent: "If you aren't first or second in their mind, you probably won't get the business." So a lot of, like, in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, if you guys haven't read that yet, Gary Keller talks about, you know, all the branding. Like, there's usually two things on your top of mind when you think of soda. You think of Coke or Pepsi. When you think of phones, you think of Samsung or iPhone. And so there's usually two top brands or top people in people's minds. And if you can stay within one or two of those, then you'll probably get the business. So this is the concept of taking up space in people's minds through staying in close emotional proximity to them, which is called mind share. Emotional proximity is a result of engaging in touches with your database. Think back to the day you learned about lead generation. What touches are the strongest when it comes to relationship building, and what are the weakest? Does anybody want to answer that? What are the strongest and what are the weakest?
Leads?
The strongest or the weakest touches?
Oh. I'd say face-to-face are pretty strong.
Yep, I agree. So it says here, meeting in person and a phone call are the touches that will have the greatest impact on a relationship that you are building. Email and text are weaker related to forming connections and bonds. While you will lead follow-up using a variety of touches, it's important to keep in mind which ones will be the most effective for your follow-up. I would also add in there social media. If you have a client that is super active on social media and you stay in contact with them through social media, I do think that that is a stronger touch than email. And the reason being is because of the algorithm of social media. You're going to be showing up more on their feed if you engage with them a lot. So even if you're not having a physical conversation with them every day on social media, like texts or DMs or comments, they're going to be seeing you on social media. So you're going to stay top of mind because of the algorithms. So I think that being in contact with those leads or those clients or people in your database that are strong on social media is really, really good for you too.
I was going to say, I think that the social media is a strong one because there's people that I have not directly spoken to, but I'm like friends of friends of friends who somehow they're like friends on my Facebook. And they have like shared the content that I'm putting out there about becoming a realtor and getting my name out there. And they're sharing that for me. And I know them, like I know who they are, but like, that's about it. Like, we don't talk, like I never see them. We don't interact.
Yeah.
And then they're
100%.
sharing information that we haven't even had any conversation yet. But I feel like that like opens the door to be like, oh, hey, like, thank you for doing that. Or just to start a conversation where there wasn't a conversation in the beginning just because of Facebook.
Yep, I agree. I have had the same thing happen to me. I've had people from high school that I honestly like don't even remember at all going to school with me, but they have reached out and referred me somebody or used me themselves. And I've had people on Instagram that I don't know them at all. They just followed me because they liked what I was posting, and then they've become clients. So social media is huge. I agree with that. I think that it is definitely like the new wave of communicating. People would rather communicate on social media than text, really. I mean, people won't text you back, but they'll respond to your social media. So, yes, that is good. Next we're going to share ahas. So we share ahas because they are powerful and meaningful insights that come from a reflection on the experiences we're having. When we share them out loud, we further strengthen the power of the aha, and we help all of our fellow participants to have powerful ahas as well. So does anybody have an aha? That was kind of one. Does anyone have an aha from just the information we've gone over so far? Which, I mean, it really hasn't been that much yet. Did anything like stand out to any of you?
I think like thinking of when you think of other products like sodas, like you just think of two and phones and stuff, and remembering that for trying to be the front in other people's minds.
Yeah, totally. And there would be some times where I started out, when I first started in real estate, I started out on a very busy team. And so we did a lot of phone calls, a lot of internet leads cold leads, basically, that barely just clicked on a website and were calling them. A lot of those, their out would be, oh, I have a realtor. I already have one. I'm talking to somebody. And a lot of times they did not have a realtor, but they're just saying that because they want me to stop bugging them or calling them, or they want to hang up. So I would always say, oh, that's great. You have a realtor. Save me in your phone so I can be your second choice. And so that's just, even if like you meet somebody and they're like, oh, I have a realtor, remind them that it's okay to have a second choice and you're okay being their second choice. And so you can just be like, hey, I don't want to step on anyone's toes. I'm not trying to poach any business, but I would love, just to be your second choice. If something didn't work out, give me a call. And you will have people call you back because they didn't really have a realtor. Or you'll have people say, it's not working out, I don't like them. I've had that happen before where they've said, now I'm ready for your business. So it is good to remind other people of that too, that there's two people that can take up their mind share. Okie dokie. Moving right along. So now we're going into how to lead follow-up. Just like your intention to be strategic with your lead generation efforts, you should be strategic with your lead follow-up efforts. Being thoughtful about how you will follow up and leverage the highest value touches that yield the greatest result will help you convert leads at a higher level. So now you guys can turn to the Fortune is in the follow-up mindshare page in your participant guide if you're following along. And it says mindshare is gained through positioning yourself in front of your leads frequently with relevant and timely information. The goal is to open the door to two-way communication in addition to getting them to think about you anytime they think about real estate. So through Ignite, you've been introduced to two different systems that engage your leads and contacts and help you gain mindshare. Does anybody remember what those two systems are? They are the 19 to convert, or 19 to connect, and the 36 to convert. So those are the two systems that you can use through your lead generation. Is anybody using those? Has anybody set that up?
Is that like the smart plan kind of thing?
Yeah, yes, it's kind of like a smart plan. So they're the two systems that Ignite recommends for touch campaigns, which are like smart plans. Smart plans are called all different things. KW system calls them smart plans. Other system might call them drip campaigns or email flows, whatever it is. It's basically a series of emails or touches that you're going to send out with the smart plans is they will send you a reminder to do your phone calls or do your in-person touches as well. So that's basically a drip campaign of emails connected with reminders for you to do the other kind of touches. So this shows you the 19 to connect and the 36 to convert and what it entails through each program. So the 19 to connect is 4 touches, which are quarterly phone calls, 12 touches with our monthly emails, and 2 touches, which could be direct mail, and then 1 touch, which is an annual event or a party. I just did my annual event, which was Christmas card photos for my past clients, and I invited some other new leads to it as well over the weekend here at KW. So it's really nice that we have that huge training center. I turned it all into Christmas, and I hired my photographer to do Christmas photos, and it was really cute. So that's always nice when you have some sort of event, and you can do an event that is like, that cost obviously a decent amount of money. You can do ones like a game night at a bar where everybody just gets together and you provide the games. Like, you can do things like that where people are buying their own drinks or people are paying for their own stuff and it's minimal on your budget. Because I know as a new agent, I had like no money ever. So you can be creative and think of things to see them annually and have people come to you, so that way you remember their connection and they remember your face and all of that, and it kind of like makes them remember like the emotional piece to it and why they liked you so much in the first place. And you can do it on a budget, so you can think of like creative things that are more on a budget. So the intent of these touches is to spread out over a calendar year, which equates to about 1 touch every 3 weeks. The goal of this communication is to establish a formal relationship in an open 2-way conversation. So establish them as a lead. Keep in mind that this is just a list and not prescriptive of the order you should complete them in. For example, the 4 phone calls will have the greatest impact if you spread them out over the quarter, each quarter, instead of like calling 4 times in 1 month. So obviously that's kind of self-explanatory, but basically it's just saying you can customize this 19 to connect to you, and you don't have to like follow whatever their plan is exactly. You can do things that work with your schedule and work with your type of clients and feel comfortable to you for your follow-up and work within your budget. So it's asking, when do you think a lead should be added to your 19 to connect touch campaign? So the answer is immediately. It says anytime you come in contact with a new lead, add them to 19 to connect. And it says be aware that when communicating with the leads, it's speed to lead. So this is how quickly you reach out after the lead has engaged with you. Your speed to lead should be rapid. Just think if that lead entered your database through a social media post, or consider how quickly that person has already moved on to engaging or interacting with other social media. So you need to engage with the lead before they contact another agent. I think this 19 to connect, and I don't know it that well because like I said, this Ignite program is different from the one I went through when I started. Oh, someone's joining. So it is different than when I joined, but what I think the gist of 19 to connect, and you can double check with Mara and Aaron, is for brand new leads. Like these have not met leads, you don't know them yet, and you're trying to get them to respond to you. So a lot of leads that come through like an internet, if you were to do like a Google ad or do ad on social media and it's leads that click your information, or if it's paid Zillow leads or paid realtor.com leads or whatever, these leads that come through, that's why you put them through this system, is to try to get them to respond to you and then capture them as a met lead. And then you move on, I think, to the 36 to connect. So we'll keep going. Well, we just went through that. There we go. So as you get started in your real estate career and as you begin to generate leads during Ignite, there are some considerations you should make regarding your own lead follow-up plan. So you guys will be using a lead follow-up best practices information on in your workbook. You can go to the page on participant guide for some brainstorming. In your Ignite packet, it'll show different examples. So this is telling us to break up into groups and you have 10 minutes to go over it. Obviously we're not in person, so we can just think of some things together. So it just says, think of some things to consider when you are following up with leads, match the touch campaign with your strengths, be prepared when you're reaching out with the reason you are calling or contacting the lead. For example, sending marketing information, touch prior to a phone call. So like if you sent them some information like the U of O schedule, a lot of people will do that. If you sent them that, then you can also use that as an opportunity to call them as well and ask them if they received that, or let them know that it's going to be coming in the mail, things like that. Know you are going to complete your daily lead follow-up tasks. This should be a time blocked as separate activity from your lead generation time. So you have lead generating and then also time block lead follow-up. So lead follow-up is different from lead generation. Set your personal standard for speed to lead. What time frame do you expect yourself to communicate with a lead when they come in? So I think, is anybody doing like any sort of internet leads or Google ads or anything like that? No, doesn't sound like
Not
it.
yet.
No, so far just my like sphere of influence I've been reaching out to, I'm kind of still just getting everything set up. I feel like I just finished like the RMLS orientation and just like all of those kind of like housekeeping type things you have to get done.
Okay.
So far I haven't done any sort of like paid advertisement or leads in addition, like other than just like my sphere of influence, reaching out to people that I know or that I know through people that I know.
Yeah, okay. Those are the most high quality leads you're going to get anyway. The reason I'm asking is because I think that this speed to lead, it's really geared toward brand new leads that come in. And a lot of agents, at least in the past, or if you're on a team, you deal with internet leads that come in through Google Ads or on a website searching for a house or whatever. And so that's what it means when it says speed to lead, is calling them instantly, trying to engage with them as soon as possible. So it's saying like, pick a time frame for yourself that you will get back to a lead. It's not going to pertain to you too much until you start getting listings out there and then getting sign calls and internet leads and things like that. But what I recommend is as soon as a lead comes in, if you can't call them right away, at least send them a text and just say, hey, I'm in a meeting right now. I'll give you a call back soon or whatever. The faster you get in contact with any of these new leads, if it's a sign call, internet lead, whatever, the better, because people nowadays, we all want things super fast. Like I'm on my MacBook Pro, which is a newer computer. I have an iMac in my office too that my assistant uses. It's so slow to me because I'm so used to this one. I can't even wait like 5 seconds for the internet page to load because I am so used to the new one and how fast it is. That's how leads are. Like they want to know the information about whatever house they clicked on ASAP. If they called you and they're standing out in front of a house, they want to go see it like right now. So you have to kind of talk them down from that. And, you know, obviously you have to work it around your schedule, but that's why it says speed to lead, is because people want things right now. So the faster you can communicate with people, the better, and the more likely that lead is going to convert into a client if you're fast, because they're going to remember that. They're not going to move on to the next person. They're not going to call their friend because you're not getting back to them, whatever the case may be. So just
Do
be
you
mindful.
subscribe to any of those lead generating, like Zillow leads, or because I have heard about them. I've talked to other realtors about them.
Mhm.
Do you do any of those subscriptions?
So when I first started, I was on a team, the Josh Cooley team, and he did all of that stuff. And then also his own advertising, and just, he had already been in the business years. And so his name was already out there. So we got a lot of referrals and past clients as well. When I went on my own, I did start doing realtor.com. I did not do Zillow because Zillow is so expensive. I think most of those programs are now moving to team onlys. So I know realtor.com, they are not subscribing to individual agents anymore, and you have to be on a big team and pay for a lot of their leads, which is like a few $1,000s a month in order to be signed up with those programs. So no, I'm not doing any of that myself. When I did do it in the past, it's a lot of work for a little bit of conversion. So, I mean, I would maybe in 1 year convert like 1 or 2 realtor.com leads, versus if I'm working that same amount of time and effort into referrals and past clients and my database, my conversions are way higher, and it's a better experience. Like, they know you, they already trust you, you know, they are going to be respectful of your time. So I am not a personal fan of the internet leads, because I think that they don't respect you as much. You're kind of a robot to them because they don't know you. So I'm a big fan of working the database.
Okay.
However, that being said, I do lead magnets, which is like, here's the top 10 homes under 500,000 in Eugene. And I would like do a Google ad of that. And then people click on that and wanted to subscribe to it. And then you get internet leads that way. That's just kind of a way to build up your database. And then I send out a monthly newsletter every month to everyone in my database. And those are like what's called slow nurture leads. They're rarely leads that click on stuff like that are like ready to buy right away. It's more so people that are just like sort of getting started.
I have a question about your newsletters.
Mhm.
I've never done one. Is it something that you have to come up with the content 100% yourself, or do you use a service that helps you brainstorm and then it's kind of like a plug and play situation?
Yeah, so every realtor does it differently. There's some realtors that they come up with their complete own content. They like doing it. It's fun for them. There will be like my top 3 favorite restaurants in town, or my whatever it is. They don't necessarily make it real estate heavy. It can be fun and something that somebody is going to appreciate and engage in, something of value. So I know of a lot of realtors that will do that versus like a market update. If you want it to be more real estate heavy, you can read the Keller Williams blog, and I believe you can share the Keller Williams blog in your email. And so it can kind of look like it's coming from you. There's a site called Keeping Current Matters. If you do not follow Keeping Current Matters on their website, they also have an Instagram. I recommend at least following them on social media because they have really good nuggets of information. I think they have a YouTube channel too about usually national things that are going on. They're usually not hyper local, but it's just all real estate focused. They do have a program that you can pay for that is that you can share their blog, you can share their social media graphics, you can share their videos, you can create your own videos, I think, but it costs money. So you have to go to the website and see the different tiers. But I do follow Keeping Current Matters, and sometimes I will share their content. But for mine, I usually will do just a little blurb about me and what's going on. I went to Disneyland last month with my kids, so I shared a picture of us in Disneyland. And then, okay, I guess I could probably screen share you guys my, well, maybe we'll do that at the end. For people that don't care, they can log off, but I can share my little newsletter with you guys. But I do a personal thing about me, because that's like connecting with them emotionally, right? So you want them to like know, like, and trust you. So that helps them get to know me a little bit more. And then I do a market update. Everybody always cares about interest rates right now. So lately I have been putting what this month's current interest rates are at. You can get that information from your lender partner. And so I'll put that in there. I'll just talk about like our hyper local real estate market and just what's going on. Try not to use real estate lingo too much, because people don't understand what that is. Like if you're like, oh, we're at 30 days on market, they don't know what that means. So you really want to dumb it down and just be like, homes are staying on the market for a few weeks. What that means is that's before they're even getting an offer or going pending, things like that. Really helps. And then I make it short and sweet. So that section's pretty short, a little market update. And then I will usually share like a blog from KW or a blog from Keeping Current Matters that pertains to our market. So sometimes there's going to be information that maybe doesn't pertain to our market that is going on nationally, but not necessarily hyper locally yet. And so I won't share that, because you only want to share content that is going to benefit them for our market here. So if we have rates going up here, which I mean, rates are going up nationally, you can do like a blog post about that. I shared one about just historically over time, how in recessions rates end up going down because everyone's worried about the rates. So I shared that blog post, and I had a decent amount of clicks on it. And then I just put a little info in there about like, if you know anybody looking to buy or sell, feel free to call me. So that's my newsletter.
That's helpful. Thank you.
On that.
Absolutely. That is
For-
one. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to ask for your newsletter. So all of the contacts that I've been adding into the database, I don't have like email addresses for everyone.
Mhm.
Is that something I should just be like, hey, can I get your email address? Or like, do they need to like go somewhere and be like, I want to add onto this list? Or how should that work? I don't even.
You should ask them directly for their email address. That's a reason to call them or a reason to text them. And
Okay.
you can just say like, hey, I from time to time, if I see something super important about the market, I like to share it with, you know, the people my friends and family, whoever you're talking to. If it's like somebody, you know, you can be like, I like to share it with my friends. If it's a family member, I like to share it with my family, whatever. And then say, can I get your email address? Or
Okay.
you can say like, hey, I'm planning, you know, every year I plan a client event and I want to invite you to it. Can I get your email address? Like, show them that you're doing it to give them value and you're not just like going to be spammy. And
Okay.
so if they know you, if they already know, like, and trust you, they're going to give you their email address. If they're
Okay.
like a lead that you don't really know that well, then lead with the value first. Like maybe come up with something already that you're planning on sending out. And so you can say, hey, I'm already planning on sending this out. Can I get your email to send it to you? And most people are going to give it to you.
I had reached out for a lot of people already and got like addresses, but I didn't think to ask for email addresses.
Yeah.
Because usually a lot of the way I contact the people that I know is through either like actual like text call or like on Facebook, like through the messenger system.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't send out a lot of emails. So I didn't really even think that like, oh, hey, I need to get their email.
Yeah, it's completely up to you and how you want to run your smart plans and things like that. Email is still like one of the top best marketing efforts out there. So like, even though we all delete our spam and stuff like that, it's still considered one of the top ways to market. So I would still always get emails when you can. It's also free, whereas direct marketing is not. So you can quickly email, a flyer versus sending $100 worth of mail to somebody. So, yeah, and a lot of people don't check their mail that often these days with bill pay and everything. They wait like weeks to check their mail. So I'm a big fan of email and social media communications and phone call and texting, obviously, too. But because it's all free and direct mail costs a lot of money. I do still do direct mail. You like the graph showed, you want to do a little bit of everything, but the less amount of direct mail I can do, the better, so that I'm not wasting tons of money on postage that's just going to go in their garbage.
I wanted to ask earlier, and then I got distracted and forgot. Somebody mentioned something about Christmas cards. I don't usually send out Christmas cards in general. I'm just not that organized of a person to like have our pictures done in time to get them out for people to get them in time.
Yeah.
I'm working on that though. But as far as that goes for business wise, should you just send out like a Christmas card that's like not family oriented, that just...
No, send your family. I use my kids for everything.
Okay.
I don't do Christmas photos either, so I'm just sending handwritten cards. And this year I'm actually spending a couple $100 and putting $1 scratch it per adult into the card. Like, hey, Merry Christmas. Hope you have a great year. Have some fun with this scratch it.
Super cute. Yeah. Anything to like grab their attention and make them think of you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you like to do family photos, I like to do family photos. I do like to. Yeah. So I send my family. I usually will just do like one with one photo. Like they don't want to see like 4 photos of my kids, but to my family, I send one with a few different photos. So I usually do 2 different ones. It does get expensive though. So if it's not in your budget to direct mail, you can always do an email of your Christmas photo and do something cute that way. Canva is a really good website.
Start with that.
Yeah.
I've been using that Canva a lot.
Yes.
And around and learning to create new content.
Yeah, a lot of people respond to my Christmas cards too. So
okay.
I have obviously, like, my kids are only 2, so I've only been doing Christmas cards for 3 years, and lots of past clients respond like that I haven't talked to in years, and they're like, oh my gosh, thank you for your Christmas card. I got your card. I was actually shocked the first year I sent them out how many people just text me and let me know they got my card.
Oh, that's awesome.
I do think it's good.
Okay.
And it helps tie the emotional piece. So even like the lottery ticket thing, it helps them be like, oh, she's so sweet. I can't believe she did this. And it makes them emotionally like more attached to you.
A phrase that I use a lot in my handwritten cards that I feel like has gotten good response is I specifically say, text me a life update and let me know how you're doing. And a lot of people will do that. And it's just kind of a soft touch instead of being like, I don't know. It's just nice. And they text me and they say, thanks so much for the card. Life's good. And that opens the conversation to like, okay, good. How you doing? You still looking here? You still doing this? And it's been helpful.
That's amazing. I love that.
That's good. Thank you. Thank you for that pointer.
Yeah. That's really good. Okay. So I got a little off track there. I saw that there's a bunch of messages in the chat, you guys. I cannot open it. I do not know where it's at on my screen because I have PowerPoint up. And so feel free to unmute and ask me your questions if you put them in the chat. Sorry, I'm like not technically savvy with Zoom, apparently. I thought I was. Okay, so now that you've had a chance to think about and design your own 19 to Connect plan. You'll be able to implement it easily. So here's just a example of a plan that somebody else had, or that Ignite is giving you that somebody could do. And it says the first two columns of the map is the magic of the plan and should not be eliminated. Everything else you can kind of play around with. So basically the first two columns are here. Can you see my little pointer?
Yep.
Okay, so annual occurrence and activity are the first two columns. It's saying make sure you do these, but this part can change. So I'm a little confused about this whole 19 to Connect. If it's for leads that you don't know yet, you can't send them birthday cards. So yeah, chat with Mara and Aaron and ask who is 19 to Connect supposed to be for, because I think it's actually the 36 concrete one that is going to be for your net leads. This has a little activity that we're supposed to do, but we're not in person, so we're going to skip it. This is saying when you have generated a lead and captured their information, you can talk to them. If you haven't heard back and you don't know much about that person, then your communication will be broader, focus on a range of values. This is where you'll communicate your value with your own value proposition, which was on day 4 of Ignite. You can even use the company or personal statistics. We know that people are more likely to respond to the message you are communicating if it feels personal and relative to them. As you engage with your leads, you can uncover how to serve them better and learn what they are interested in. As you learn this, you segment your leads into more specific groups covered on day 6 of Ignite and can communicate more detailed and value-based information. Relevant conversations have more value and are timely and lead to a greater opportunity for future conversation. Look beyond the who when you contact a lead. The most basic way to start doing this is to craft your message based on the source the lead was generated from. For example, if the lead came through your social media post about first-time homebuyers, sending them an investment property newsletter might not be the most relevant for their current motivation. So just make your communication, personalized to that lead that you're communicating with.
Can you go back to the screen really quick?
Go back the screen. Yep.
Okay, now you can go forward.
This should be in your workbook too.
It's not filled out all the way and I was not fast enough. So I just
okay.
took a picture of it. That way I have it to look back on.
Yep, perfect. Okay. So once the door is open for two-way communication, use conversations to find their motivation for engaging with your business, what their timeline is, and possibly other interest. Use this information to group them in. So you guys can turn to communicate with value page in your guide. Once you know the source of the lead, you can narrow down your range of value. Knowing the source of the lead helps inform you on how you can pair a value with your communication. For example, a lead generated through a client referral will be communicated differently than a lead that came in from a phone call. So we kind of already talked about that. So it wants us to complete an activity by brainstorming statements and questions that you can use when communicating with different lead sources. These statements and questions can be incorporated into your 19 to Connect touch campaigns. For the activity, you can work independently or you can set up in small groups. Okay, so we'll just do it together here. So first, we're going to consider the lead sources that you already have in your database. If you aren't sure where to start with referrals, open houses, or social media, since those are activities you have learned about or engaged with since starting Ignite. And you can see a variety of possible lead sources you might have in your database on the screen. So does anybody want to unmute and just say what you would what you're thinking, what a statement or question could be to communicate with your database.
When I get a client referral, I spend the first part of the conversation talking about how much I adore the person that referred them to me.
Perfect. I love that.
So like whether it's a lender or a former client, because that's what we have in common. So let's build that common ground on liking that person. And then we go from there.
Awesome. Does anybody else have any examples or ideas?
Nope, I do that as well. Just ask questions.
Yep. Does anybody host open houses yet?
Yeah.
Do you guys connect? How do you guys connect after the open house with the people that signed up? Do you call them? Do you text them?
I'll shoot them a text message like the same day. Like, hey, thanks for stopping by. It was really nice getting to talk to you. And I'll usually leave it with an action that I'm supposed to do for them. Like I'm supposed to find out some sort of information for that person. So then that gives me a reason to reach out to them.
Yeah.
So, hey, I'm going to look into that, whatever question, and get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks again for coming to the open house.
Perfect. I love that. So many people get a list of or leads that come through the open house and they don't ever do anything with it. It gets lost in their car. They are too scared to call them back, whatever. I do the same thing. I send a text after every open house thanking everybody that came through to the open house. And then the next Friday, call them again and ask them if they want a list of open houses that are going to be happening over the weekend, since that's something that they liked. That is nice because if they didn't give an email at the sign-in, or if they gave a fake email or whatever, I now have the opportunity to get their email and they can go into my database that way. Or they're just now seeing, oh, she's already working for me. Okay, great. And they're more likely going to reach out to you when they are actually ready to buy a house too. If they already have an agent, like, I don't know, everybody's sign-in sheet looks different. I ask if they already have an agent on the sign-in sheet. If it clicked yes, I'll just say, hey, I'm not, trying to poach you as a client. I saw that you already had an agent, but would you be interested in this? And then a lot of times if they lied about having an agent, they'll be like, oh yeah, I actually don't really have an agent. That would be great for that list or whatever. So just some more examples for you guys. Next, we are going to record your top lead sources that you are focusing on in your participant guide. So no, I'm not turning the page yet. Then brainstorm and write statements or questions that you could use when communicating with that segment for contacts. For example, for a call, you can write statements that can help uncover their motivation, like, why are you thinking about buying or selling? Tell me more. What will that do for you and your family? So, do you guys have any questions about any of this information? It's wanting us to go over and do like another little activity, but I don't think we need to unless you guys want to. Basically, script practicing that again is just coming up with ideas and brainstorming about what questions you could ask different segments of your contacts. So does anybody want to volunteer and tell me what like your top lead source is, and then we can come up with like a few ideas that you can call and connect with them on?
I would say social media for me for right now, because I haven't done anything other like paid marketing and whatnot. And I don't have any houses or, current clients.
Okay, so does anybody have any ideas on how she can engage with a lead that she met on social media?
I would just reach out, like anybody who, if you make a social media post and they engage and make a comment, then I would, either make a comment back, follow up in Messenger, like a private message, like, hey, if you have any other questions, just make sure that you contact that person. Also, a lot of times someone will tag someone in one of your posts. I don't know, in my experience, someone will say, hey, this is, for instance, this is the guy I was telling you about, and they'll tag their friend in your post. That's a lead right there. It's like, okay, bam, you click on them, visit their social media. You can either friend request them or just send them a message. Sometimes that gets lost, but you could always just click on them and say, hey, I'm here if you have any questions, whatever comes up. You can talk about your friend, your mutual friend, a little bit to build some rapport. And then, hey, what kind of questions did you have? Or I heard you were looking for property. What kind of property? Just start engaging with them.
Yeah, exactly. I also think you can make it a part of like your lead generation daily. If social media is one of your big lead sources, then go through your database, friend everybody that's in your database on social media. And that can be one of your lead generating tools you do every day, is communicate with 5 people on social media or communicate with 10 people a day on social media. And it doesn't have to be about real estate. Like, just go to their page, like comment on their picture. I would say always the communication needs to be like comment or message. Comment on their picture, message, just check in with them. Hey, how are you doing? If you see that they're getting married soon, congratulations. Like, just having normal conversations that doesn't revolve around real estate. That way they know, like, and trust you. And then when they do need real estate, they're more likely to go to you. And they're not going to feel like you're just constantly like only talking to them for sales. Like, I don't know if any of you guys have those friends that sell like the multi-level marketing stuff. I sold Avocare for a while there. No, Sensi, I think it was Sensi. I bought Avocare, but I sold Sensi. And you always have those friends that you seem like they're only talking to you because they want you to buy their product. So don't be that type of realtor. Talk to them about their real life, not just real estate. But obviously, if they have a question about real estate, you want to be their expert go-to. So, any ahas about everything we just talked about? Any ahas about just follow up and what kind of conversations to have, or the strategy for 19 to connect? Yeah, okay, we'll just move on. No ahas. So now we're going to post lead follow-up. You can turn to that page in your guide. And once you follow up with the lead and you have permission to have that two-way conversation, what do you think happens with that person? After you obtain permission to have the two-way conversation, the lead then becomes a contact in your database. And in Command, you'll do this manually, so you manually put them in. This also means that you will move the lead from 19 to connect to 36 to convert. So this is why I'm super confused on the 19 to connect to the 36 to convert, because it seems to me like the 19 to connect is just to get the lead to communicate with you. So it's somebody who you're not already communicating with. Then once they do communicate with you, you add them to your 36 to convert campaign. So the 36 to convert campaign is the main one you're going to do for people that you already have in your database and people that you already know.
So sorry, I had to go grab my baby. The 19 to connect, that's like people that you don't already know. So you're doing those things to create that two-way conversation. And once the two-way conversation happens, then they go into your database.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure that I followed that correctly.
Yeah. Even on the 19 to connect, if you have their email address or you have their physical address, you can still add them to your database before they communicate with you. But the goal of that is just to get them to respond to you. So once they respond to you and you have that relationship established, then you add them to the 36 to convert. The main thing I think also is what they try to do is have you not waste a bunch of money on a lead that hasn't responded to you yet. So,
Nice quick question.
Mhm.
So you're considering a lead as someone that you've got two-way conversation with?
Yes, but I mean, it's even a lead. It's still called a lead before you necessarily have the two-way conversation, right? So like, even if I posted a Google ad, somebody clicked on it, they signed up on my website, I now have their phone number, email, and their name, but I haven't physically talked to them. They're still a lead that I have, but
Okay.
they're not like the concrete 36 to convert lead because they haven't responded to me yet.
Okay,
So once they respond to you and you actually have that communication, then you switch them to this 36 to convert. It's a heavier one. It's you may be spending a little bit more money on it because the lead is a higher quality.
gotcha. Thank you.
It's kind of confusing. So, let's see. You achieved the purpose of 19 to connect, which was to connect with that lead, opening the door for a two-way conversation. Connecting with that lead does not necessarily mean they will do business with you or that your relationship is as strong as it could be. That is why you'll continue into another touch campaign. Whether it is a lead or a contact in your database, every person should be on a touch campaign. This is how you'll gain and keep mind share while continuing to do all jobs as a real estate agent. So it's kind of, it's basically saying it's going from a lead, which is the 19 to connect, to now a physical contact. All the verbiage is interchangeable, I think. So we'll go on to this one. One to cement. At the point where a lead opens the door for two-way conversation, you must cement the relationship. Everyone in your database should be cemented right when you transition them to 36 to convert. Refer to the post-lead follow-up page in your participant guide. What do you think the purpose of one to cement touch campaign is? Well, the purpose is the cement touch is a high value touch that offers a strong first impression and sets the tone for your relationship together. Whatever you choose here should serve more than one purpose. This should tell them about the service you provide, help set up a conversation for later, serve as a reminder of the interaction, and tell them how to refer business to you. So what are some options you could offer as your one to cement? What are other agents using and finding success with? So a high value touch that solidifies the relationship you have just established and opens the door for future interactions. It could be, that open house list that we talked about, giving them the open house list. It could be doing a pop by if you want to drop off a little something with your real estate information. If it's like a listing lead, you can do your pre-listing packet or something like that. Just giving them something of value that, like your newsletter, for instance, something of value that solidifies that relationship is basically what it's saying.
Yeah, maybe they weren't pre-approved or pre-qualified when they walked in, and you have a lender friend or somebody, an allied resource that you'd want to connect them with. You can always give them that information too.
Yeah, exactly, absolutely. The example that they're giving is you could offer the Keller Ink book, Your First Home. It's like a little book. I don't know if you guys have seen it. I don't think I have one in my office. I think it's kind of an expensive thing to do because it's like $10 or $15 to give a book. So it's just whatever your budget is and how high quality that lead is. For instance, I have given away like the Millionaire Investor book to people before, and it's clients that maybe were a personal referral or I knew them, that I felt like giving a $15 gift up front before I know they're even going to be my client was worth it, because they may refer me to somebody else, or because I knew that they were going to be like a good lead in the future. So things like that. So I don't think you always have to give something of value that costs money. You can give something of value just with your knowledge, like the newsletter or the connection with the lender, anything like that. So now it's asking for ahas again. Anybody have any ahas? I feel like we didn't really get that far in this segment yet, but did anything stand out to anybody from that last piece? No. Okay, well, we'll move on. It says, as we wrap up our learning session and transition to our success system, let's do a quick review and capture ahas. So now it's going to have us move on to the success system, which I think you guys are doing on your own. It's like role playing and accountability partners. You guys do that on your own, right? In any of your other Ignite classes, have you guys done that? No. Okay. I thought so. It's kind of hard to do over Zoom. So, that's pretty much the whole lesson for today. Does anybody have any questions? Does anybody want me to clarify anything that we went over today? Does anybody have questions of anything else you have going on while you have me? No, sounds like everybody is feeling pretty good about lead follow-up.
I have a question for you.
Emily, you're super breaking up. If it's easier for you, you can throw it in the chat. I exited screen share, so now I can see the chat again.
Weren't you gonna show us something?
Oh yeah, if you guys want to see my newsletter,
Yes, please.
I will show that too. Let me find it. So I use a system called Flowdesk, Flowdesk. And there's another one. It's basically an email system. You do have to pay for it. You can also just use Smart Plans. I think the email system in Smart Plans is really hard to use. This one is a lot easier, but it is free to use Smart Plans. So it just depends on your budget. I think it's called ConvertKit. So there's ConvertKit, there's lots of different email systems out there, but I will show you. Just my newsletter so you guys get a good idea of it. So let me screen share. Okay, can everybody see now? Yes, okay, cool.
Yep.
So this was my latest newsletter. So this is through Flowdesk, which they have different templates you can use. It's super user-friendly, I think. And so I just did a picture of my kids. So this section never changes. I just change out the picture and then I change my little blurb that I say. And so like next month, I'm going to do a picture, our Christmas picture, and then I'm going to say like about my client event and thank everybody for coming and blah, blah, blah. So that's just super short and sweet. Then I have this section, let's talk real estate. I wrote this myself. So this is content I put up here. You can always just share a blog post. You don't have to write it yourself. You don't even have to make it anything about real estate if you don't want to, but this is what I do. And then this is a blog post from Keeping Current Matters. So I just threw this in there. Keller Williams has a blog post you can put in there. You can find a blog post anywhere, Pinterest, wherever, whatever you want that you think that your clients would get value out of, you can put on there. And then this was a graphic from Keeping Current Matters that I liked that basically pertained to the same thing. And it's talking about what everybody's talking about in the market. So it's relevant to what's going on today. And then this is just my little section about my Homes for Heroes program. And then I don't know why that picture is not loading, but this is my Instagram. So if anybody wants to click, I like it when people follow me on Instagram because that's the most social media that I keep up with. And then I can, keep in contact with them too. So that's it.
That's really helpful. Thank you for showing that to us.
Yeah, absolutely. Does anyone have any other questions? Oh, let's see. I think Emily put her question in here. I feel nervous about the transaction process after my first deal. How did your first deal go? Oh gosh, I can't even remember. So I started out working for Charity Crosby. She is an agent at our office. I was her assistant. And my first few transactions, I kind of like did under her wing. Like I referred her the business and then she kind of like just did everything with me. So that process I kind of like had a mentor with and I could kind of lean on her. My first transaction by myself, I think it was still on Josh's team. So, I mean, I had, even with the ones I referred to Charity on her team, I had ones that they didn't get in their keys on time. The buyers didn't move out right away. Like there's all these fires that go on and crazy things that happen. And it's really hard not to feel like everything's all your fault. So just try really hard not to put too much pressure on yourself and be the calm in the situation. So be empathetic to them and do everything you can to fix whatever the situation is, but definitely like be the calm person of it all. And because everyone else is going to be freaking out, like I've even had lender partners that like cry on transactions and I'm like, what are you doing? We are supposed to be the ones that like got it together. So that's my advice, is just try to stay as even keel and professional and obviously show that you care, but make sure that they feel secure and safe with you. And so they're going to come to you with anything that they have so that they feel, you can make them feel better. But do you have any specific things you feel nervous about? Or are you in your first transaction, or are you just saying you feel nervous about starting one? Oh, just the paperwork. Oh, that's the easiest part. Nobody sees you doing the paperwork. You're not even in front of your clients half the time. So just have Mara or Aaron help you if you have questions about the paperwork, but the paperwork part's easy because you can do it without them there. Any other questions? No? Okay, well, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. Hopefully you got some value. And I'm around the office. I have an office here. It's super messy right now because I had the event over the weekend. So I just threw everything in here on Saturday. But if you see me around the office, come say hi. And if you have questions, I'll put my information in here in the chat, and then you guys can save it, and you're always more than welcome to reach out to me.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Bye, everybody.